We are recording.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Framingham Park and Recreation Commissioners meeting of January 11th. Please be noted that the meeting is being recorded and it is also on Zoom. And I think what else I have to say. I think that's all I have to say, that it's being recorded and it's on Zoom. People are attending remotely. We have two commissioners here at the table and one on Zoom with us tonight, Mr. Gadeko. And yeah, and I'd like to welcome Jean, Janie, our new commissioner. We had a lovely meeting yesterday, got her all on board. Yep. So we're good to go. So welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody ready to go? Okay, let me see. We have approval of minutes. I've read them. They look good to me.
Likewise, yep, that looks great.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Would you like to second that motion?
I'd second that motion.
Thank you. And so they're all approved. Ready to go to the next item?
Roll call?
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Gadeko,
Roll call
yes.
Emphatically, so you can go first now, because you're,
Oh.
you're B.
You're being bumped, Dave.
My roll call just named
So just name,
Jeannie DeZaco.
yes, and say yes.
Gadeko, yes.
Yes. Awesome. Got to get my meeting mojo on. Okay. Public participation. It looks like we have,
Leslie White Harvey is the only guest. If you'd like to speak, just raise your hand. If not, I know she does like to listen in on the meetings
and
and,
the other numbers are number here.
yes.
I'm just listening in, that's all. Thank you for the presentation you gave last night on the updates that Parks and Rec plans to do. I'm really excited about it. Most of all, Arlington Street Park, which is in my neighborhood. I'm looking forward to seeing all the improvements you hopefully get funding to do. I'm a big advocate for that. I'm less than a mile away. And I just wanted to say thank you for the meeting yesterday.
Absolutely. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming out and supporting our project.
Thank you,
You're
Leslie.
welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks, Leslie.
Okay, we'll move then to the Superintendent of Recreation report.
Welcome, thank you. You have my agenda, so I'm just going to read through my notes. Numbers and programs for this last month. We've had 71 registrations. Winter program registration is still ongoing. There's still some limited spots available for a few programs. Most of them are starting within the next week or so. So if anybody wants to register, now's the time to do that. Under challenges, we've had a really difficult time this season securing a sign language facilitator. In case you don't know, we have 9 deaf participants in our basketball program this session. So as recently as yesterday, the School for the Deaf came through, and they will be able to provide us with 2 facilitators for the basketball program. We are currently working with the city's disability coordinator to help with funding for that accommodation. For example, the program that these kids are in, I collected $1,580. The fee for the facilitators is going to be approximately $2,760 for the one program, and I still need to pay coaching and get supplies and things like that. So hopefully we will be able to work together with the disability coordinator, and he'll be able to give us a little bit of help with that. So far this winter, registration's been fairly slow. Classes are either full with wait lists or they're struggling to run. So there's like really no in between. I did go to a MRPA meeting yesterday, the Mass Park and Rec Association, and that seems to be a trend throughout Metro West. So I'm not very much worried about it at this point. What next season brings in the spring. Under positives and new initiatives, I applied for and received a grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council. I asked for originally 3,500. We were awarded 2,675, which is fantastic, and that's going to be put towards our Framingham Friday night concert series.
Nice.
So that was great. Winter programs, like I said, they're kind of hit or miss, but the ones that are hit, we've got great numbers. We've got over 125 kids on the ice this session. Both of our Start Smart basketball classes are full. The K-3 basketball clinic is full. Black babysitting is full. And some of the sessions of Taekwondo and our tennis lessons are full.
Were you able to do winter swim?
Yeah, well, not swim lessons, just swim teams.
Just team?
Just swim
Good.
teams. So that was my next thing. So their first meet is this Saturday in Westwood. And at the end of the day, we ended up with 37 participants, ages 7 through 18. Which
Wonderful.
I think is a great, way to come back after COVID. Spring and summer programming is complete, and we're starting to put that into the MyRec system. We're going to make those things live as soon as we can, with registration starting for spring and summer anticipated to start on April 3rd. The Soldier Hunt, I know I touched base a little bit last month on that. I do want to say thank you again to Chris and his team for all their hard work. It was fantastic again this year. I quickly went into Facebook to look at our analytics a little bit. We had over 31,000 hits on the
Cool.
blues for.
That's amazing.
That is
I
huge.
love that.
Congratulations.
Just the Soldier Hunt,
Excellent job.
which is great. So again, there's no way that could happen without Chris and his team. A very quick report for me tonight. Nothing under miscellaneous. You guys have any questions?
That's awesome.
No? That's fantastic. Awesome. Very good. Mr. Gadeko, any questions? You good out there in
No.
cyberspace?
I can't really speak very well, but I'm all set.
Fantastic.
Awesome, that's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And just to make a note, just came from a Title IX meeting, and one of the topics was kind of the feeder teams and different activities that go into, lead these kids into high school sports, and Park and Rec does play a critical role, and specifically you do, with making sure these kids have opportunities to do everything, so thank you very much, because I did bring up all the hard work that you do.
We got to start somewhere.
Motion to accept the report?
Kathy, you got a hand up.
Oh, Leslie has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For, Lynn.
Leslie?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, thank you for having the soldiers around town. I enjoyed seeing them all around the city. And didn't participate, but kind of did it with my family, just going around. So it's such a great tradition. So thank you for doing that. And I don't think I identified, but my name is Leslie White Harvey. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Leslie. Okay, back to a motion to accept the report. You'd like to
Second motion?
want to make the first?
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second it.
Roll call? Say your last name again.
Nibizako, yes.
Kadeko, yes.
Hawk, yes. Awesome.
Thank you.
On to the next report, which be superintendent of maintenance.
Thank you, sir.
I take it, Dave, you got a copy from Maria? Do you have any questions? Basically, routine maintenance now is trash pickup.
Chris, can you just project your voice a little bit? So
Trash
Thank
pickup
you.
twice a week, ongoing equipment maintenance, and still finishing up the fall cleanups in this month, as well as last month. That will be ongoing as long as there's no snow on the ground. It enables us to get to some places an extra time, so the spring cleanups aren't as many. Elaine talked about the wooden soldiers. We're having some of them going back in for some repairs over the time that they're out there.
Any guns stolen this year?
Yes, we had another gun stolen by the Framingham State, at the Framingham State Soldiers, so we won't be putting one back there for a while. Irrigation repairs over at Callahan and also at Cushing. Brakes, especially with the hardscape repairs and removals of the barrels, picnic tables, and so forth that we put out on our, tennis nets, things like that. As you can see when you came in, maybe you did or you didn't, the Key Tech project is ongoing with the overhang over the back stairs to prevent the ice buildup and the snow and the rain and all that. So we're really happy with that. We're saving a lot of money, and they're getting some great experience. Backstop and fence contract we'll be putting out soon. Jim and I are working on that right now. Meeting with school department next week. The winter tent contract, Jim can talk about that on that, and it came in today. Fuller building, we have a new building over at the Fuller Fields that was part of the project, where we keep all the synthetic equipment and materials. And we took down the netting that surrounds the full fields at the beginning of the week. Brushwork on miscellaneous sites were all over the place. Merchant Road was a big project. Back up at Roosevelt, and we will be throughout all the different areas. Back and everything. We had some repairs, gravestone repairs at Edwards. Other than that, the staffing, we had 2 retirements. Paul Smith, Bumpy Smith retired, and also Sam Morales. Both were laborers positions, and big shoes to fill, but hopefully with some of the seasonal help that we have right now, we'll be able to do that. We have kept on some of the seasonal help because we do have these openings. And those will go as soon as we fill these positions. Questions?
No.
Great.
Oh, moving ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Kadeko, are you all set with questions?
Nope, I'm all set, but I'll make a motion that we accept the report.
Roll call?
Sacco, yes.
Hideko, yes.
Hawk, yes. Awesome. We're moving on to the director's report now.
All right, so welcome again, Jean. Very happy to have you here and have a full commission again. So welcome.
Nobody's here.
What's that?
Nobody's here.
Thank God you're here.
It doesn't feel like a full commission, but we
I
are.
know. Thank God you're here.
Just want to announce too, the Director of Elder Services, Grace O'Donnell, has resigned over at the Council on Aging at the Callahan Center. So I wanted to make you aware of that. Her last day officially will be March 3rd. And we want to thank her for over a decade of dedicated service to the city of Framingham. She's really done an amazing job with the center, with the Council on Aging, with programs, with grants. Really a phenomenal job with her time here, and we're sorry to see her go, but certainly can understand that she wants to move on to some new challenges. So we appreciate her service, so thank her for that. We had our CIP presentation, that's our capital improvement plan presentation last night to the Finance Subcommittee, and I thought that it went extremely well. There were a couple of questions in terms of priority of projects, in terms of explaining, why certain projects were proposed. And I was hoping to share my screen with everyone so that I could show you essentially where all this information is located. I did provide links on the agenda, which I thought would be helpful. The links go to the Budget Central kind of financial page. They go to the mayor's recommendations. They go to our recommendations with all backup and things like that. So just to show you, let me see how to get there. So this is the main Framingham webpage. And what you want to do is go into departments. And you're going to go to down to the finance division. Finance. And then the first selection under finance is the Budget Central financial reports. So this is a link, so it's much easier than going through everything
And these
that
are
I'm
the most
doing.
current ones?
And these are the final versions of the most current ones. This, just for your own reference, this starts the process of the budget process. So we've submitted the capital before the new year. They invited us in to talk about it and explain the different projects answer any questions. And then we're submitting the operating budget at the end of this week, and then all that information will be on here as well, once it gets submitted. The process is we submit a budget or proposed budget to the mayor. The mayor goes ahead and looks at it and works on it with the CFO, and they propose a budget to the city council. And then the city council will refer it to the finance subcommittee. And then the finance subcommittee will invite people in to talk about their budgets or answer any questions that they might have about it. They'll make a recommendation to the city council. And then the city council will open it up for discussion. They'll vote on the final budget, and then it will become so after that. So it's a, you know, it's kind of a long process, and there are a few hoops to jump through, but really after last night's meeting, I thought it went extremely well. Like I said, there was a couple of questions about priorities, a couple of technical questions about what we might see in some of the projects, but overall, I think it was well received.
Good.
So it was a good start. So in here, you've got your recommended CIP projects. So with funding sources, so this is what we get from, this is essentially the mayor's recommendation. And if you look at, this is actually a 5-year capital plan. And if I scroll down, you'll see that we are parks right here. So you can see where Temple Street Park was recommended 500,000, but the mayor wants that to go through CPA funding before it goes to CIP. And if it doesn't get the CPA funding this year, then it will probably come up again next year. We also have the Loring Arena cooling tower for 145,000, and essentially that is a unit that's about 15 years or so. I think it's been there, and it's got a life cycle of upwards of 20 years, so it's reaching the end of its life cycle. It could potentially go at any point. So what we want to do is replace that before it becomes an issue. So yeah, it was actually installed in 2008, and again, that life expectancy is 15 to 20 years, and it carries and runs the sealed ammonia-based cooling system. So if that is not functioning properly, you lose your ice potentially in the middle of the season, and it could pretty much ruin your season. To order a new piece of equipment could take, you know, upwards of, I believe, 15, 16 weeks to get something in. So essentially the season will be over. The next thing that we did propose for this year is 2 vehicles. And what we're looking to do is get a John Deere tractor as one piece of equipment, and also the Case 570 loader, another piece of equipment. The tractor is 23 years old. 1999 is when we bought it. So it's certainly, you know, 23 years old. It's seen its share of wear and tear. It's got issues with rust, perforation, advanced deterioration due to rust. And it's had some, you know, issues for the operators in terms of the cab, the doors, the fenders, you know, just all, you know, not working at this point and allowing some of the fumes and stuff to get into the cab. There's degraded metal components, and, you know, so we feel like it's certainly time for this piece of equipment to be replaced. The other one is the 570 case loader. That's a 17-year-old piece of equipment. Similar issues. It's got rust. It's old. It's not, you know, passing inspection. It's just time that we take a look at that and replace it. So we are recommending that as well. Arlington Street Park for 500,000 is the next project that we'll be looking at. At Arlington Street, this is a project on the south side of Framingham. We're recommending that it be a complete park rebuild, and that would include replacing the playground, making everything accessible, adding some security features with lighting and cameras, working with the basketball court. We've heard recommendations that basketball, it's being used less for basketball and more for futsal. So we want to incorporate some of those designs in that as well. Jim was actually at a conference and found a really cool system where the nets recess into the ground and can pop out as needed, which I think is a really cool feature that we can add to that. And that is going to be $500,000 through the CIP, and we're trying to get another $500,000 through the CPA. And what that would do is it allow us to potentially put in some of the splash pad elements into the project. So kind of a two-pronged financial approach there. The next thing that we're looking at is open space and land acquisition, and that's sort of to be determined. We're looking at Lot C over at Cushing, which is part of the Brookdale property. And, you know, the city has had some interest over the years in trying to secure that property for city use. We also have Mary Dennison Park. We've reached a great milestone right now with Mary Dennison Park. We've actually gotten to the point where we are negotiating with Avery Dennison. We've gotten our phase 4 waiting to get completed and submitted to DEP for the remediation. The next step will be to get an actual cost of the project and then negotiate that with Avery Dennison, and we'll keep you posted on that. Let me see. Chris Walsh Memorial Trail. We're moving along with the design on that as well. It's going well. We're going to be probably rolling that out to you guys in the next month or so. Right now, we're working with the mayor and the CFO to take a preliminary look at the designs and fine-tune that before we roll it into the final design and out to the public. So we look forward to that. We'll also be looking at the Bruce Freeman Trail. There is some monies. It's not necessarily in our CIP, but I know the CFO has some ideas of where some monies might be available for that. So they did work out an agreement to purchase the property more recently, and then we'll move into the design process of that. And lastly, Washacum Beach Park improvements was recommended for $100,000 in design. And that, again, the mayor did open up the gates with your consent and with your recommendation, did open up the gates there last year. And I think we've had a real, successful summer overall. The neighborhood got to access the park. I think they're treating it respectfully. I haven't gotten calls that, people aren't treating the property respectfully or the neighbors. So, again, I think that it really worked out, for the neighborhood and for everyone. The next step will be to take a look at the bathroom situation. We'll be working with the outfalls, with the DPW and stormwater management. So how the stormwater looks before it makes its way into the pond. We'll also be looking at beach access and potentially dock access as well. So a lot of projects on the docket. Most likely, not all of them will get funded. What doesn't get funded will get rolled over into next year and then reprioritized with the list next year. So we've already, like I said, had our first meeting. They'll probably call us back in for a second reading at some point. They're going through all the departments now. So we look forward to getting into more detail and providing information to the city council so they can make an informed decision when it comes to their priorities. So, so I did want to just make sure that everyone had a chance to see what that website looks like, and that all relevant budget, background material, and everything can be found there. Again, operating budget is going to be due the end of this week, so we'll be submitting it on Friday. Same thing, we'll be reviewing that internally with the mayor. The mayor will make a recommendation to the city council and so on. So that process will get rolling on the operating budget. Right now, just kind of a sneak peek, we are looking at increasing services. We've heard the demand and the request from the public to have access to more facilities on the weekends after 3:30. So we're developing a schedule and a program that can accommodate those requests. What I think that's going to do for us is it's going to provide coverage. We'll be able to open, bathrooms at different facilities. We'll be able to work with volunteer groups and with the beautification of different things over the weekends when people are available. They typically like to volunteer on the weekends. You know, we'll be able to provide with the new fuller turf fields, more access on the weekends and at Bowditch at night. We've had more requests for nighttime games as well. So we're really looking at it as a 7-day-a-week, 12-hour-a-day operation. So that's what we're going to be proposing for the operating budget. We're also looking to add one additional summer's activities director as well. This person can help run all of our various camps and clinics. We have 3 beaches that we run. We're you know, looking at taking on some additional responsibilities with the farmers market and with some of the other
So you guys are gonna-
programs. So what's that?
Are you guys taking that?
We're not running the whole program. No,
Oh,
Bill
good.
Sell is actually running the entire program, but we're going to be working closely with
Good.
him around the farmers market to provide logistical city support.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a good match there.
You
So.
did the farmer's market?
Yeah.
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 They really booted that up. That's a
It's a
ton of
nice-
work, so I'm glad that you guys didn't have that at all.
Yeah, so I mean, we want to certainly,
Changed the hours too, a bit.
What's
I
that?
think They extended the hours on the farmer's
changed
till
market.
7 o'clock.
So I think
Yep.
that made a big difference because the time
Huge.
frame was at a time where nobody was probably, you know, local,
Around.
around, yeah,
Yeah.
so
It was huge.
that was
Mhm.
good.
Good, I'm glad that you don't have to take that totally out.
Yeah, so that's
Bill's
going.
doing a fabulous job, not that you guys wouldn't, but.
Yeah, and we'll have our hands full. We are, you know, working on some other things with the concert series, and we'll roll that out, you know, a little bit later, some additional things that we're working on. You know, the other, you know, the increase that you'll see in the budget has to do with contractual step and grade and stipend increases. So this was a year that we did negotiate our contracts with our unions, so there are some increases there that were negotiated that we'll have to factor in as well. But, you know, once we finalize the budget, I'll, you know, we'll get it posted on here. We can review it with you guys as well, so you can get a sense of where we're going with that. In terms of project updates, I did touch on several of the things in terms of Mary Dennison, what's coming down the road. Winch tennis court replacement, did we want to talk about that today, other than bids have been received? And we're reviewing those right now.
For the bids or for the courts or, okay.
Yep.
Like,
They were received today, and we're looking at those, and we're gonna check references, and we're gonna, you know, do our due diligence to make sure that that is a solid number we can work with. Arlington Street Playground design, we have the 4 final design concepts that are being refined now.
Good.
And we'll be rolling that out within the next month or 2 as well, what the final design recommendations look like. Following that will be bid documents, and again, that's one that we did put in a CPA application for too, so that's kind of running in tandem. And I mentioned the Chris Walsh Trail design, and we'll be rolling that out in about a month or so, and that also has a CPA application associated with it. Loring Arena lighting upgrades, the design also went out to bid.
Got bids back today, same situation as Lynch, you know, our chief.
Sure, so it's, what was said is the same situation that I mentioned with the Winch tennis courts in terms of doing our due diligence to make sure that the number is acceptable to the city. Loring Arena sound upgrades, we are meeting with the vendor to develop a scope of work there, so, and then lastly, the Longs Complex LED lighting, we're putting together a lighting design.
Great.
And things out there. So, and so a lot of these things are separate from our normal capital program, so thank you, Jim, for, you know, taking on an extra load of work beyond the capital program, which involves capital projects, capital planning. It's a ton of time and energy, so,
Yes.
so thank you for that.
So, uh,
Yeah, I mentioned the CIP and the various things that we are going to be asking for. The one thing that I didn't mention is Simpson Park crossing and park improvements. Even though right now the goal is to get to Simpson Park, which is up off of Central Street,
Okay,
on
oh,
the way
yeah.
to high school on the left with
Yeah.
the bridge. But first, the mayor stated last night that we need to figure out the crossing. We need to figure out how we get either a sidewalk there or a crossing there or something to safely get pedestrians to that spot. Once we do that, that will involve also a entrance way. Then we can take it the next step and figure out a park design that'll be suitable for that property. We'll do a whole public design process. And that's in Mike Cannon's district, so I know he will want to be heavily involved with that public process as well, so. And that is, I don't know if this would go in other initiatives or new business, but the City Hall has changed their hours, and we've decided to follow suit with that change. So essentially, we're going to be here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 8:30 to 5. On Tuesdays, we stay late till 7, and on Fridays, we leave at 12:30. So obviously, for Jim and I and others, that schedule doesn't always ring true because we have multiple night meetings. Recreation is here a lot at different hours, and it doesn't quite work for the Parks crew because they're a 7 to 3:30 crew, and so they take advantage of that schedule. But with that in mind, my recommendation was going to be to get on a Tuesday schedule so that, you know, we're here till 7 anyway. It probably makes sense if we could roll that into a meeting. It's also a night where we also get called in for city council meetings and other meetings occasionally. So if we do the alternate schedule from the city council, then, you know, it would basically stagger the schedule. You know, there may become a time where we do get called in and we can either divide and conquer here or maybe postpone or change a meeting from here to another day, but that is probably going to be few and far between.
Now, is that something that we would vote on, given the fact that we're missing our 2 commissioners, or is it something you just want to go with? Or?
Oh, thank you.
Dave?
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, Dave, has his hands up, sorry.
You have CPA Tuesday night, I guess?
You're on mute.
Sorry, no, CPA is primarily Mondays, but it's all over the place. I mean, we're meeting at least twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month. And then there's the subcommittees. So yeah, whatever. Tuesday works for me. Doesn't matter.
Did you have other question, or was that while your hand was raised?
No, I got another, talking about old business. What's the status with the bathrooms down at Cushing?
Well, that's part of the initiative for going 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, is that we'll have the staff to go ahead and staff the bathroom there. What we're looking at right now is the middle building at Cushing, because there is a bathroom that's available, but we have to work on the access. There is a bit of a lip, so it's not completely ADA accessible to get into that building. The walkway also kind of tapers down a little bit, and the walkway also tapers down a little bit, and the water kind of pools there. So we're going to be working with Chris and Jim and maybe the DPW to figure out the best design to try to open up the bathroom there. Currently, we do have porta potties that people can use, but we will be, I know the desire is not to use those and to have something a little bit more permanent. So that's our plan for that right now.
So the money that we came up with for like 2 years ago to put in a bathroom is gone. We're not going to do that. Those portable bathrooms, not portable, they were semi-portable.
Yeah, that ran into some procurement, glitches, but I think Jim, if you want to step in and provide an explanation, that'd be great.
Sure, just real quick. Dave, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
So with regards to the bathrooms at Cushing, everything that Jim said rings true. As far as the prior authorization that we were thinking about putting towards the new restroom building, we're going to be using that money with the approval of the CFO to address the access issues and do some small building upgrades so that we can utilize the existing bathrooms in one of the buildings over there, rather than look at putting an entirely new bathroom facility online. And then if there was a need moving forward in the future based on continued use and volume, that we could look at supplementing the bathrooms we open up in the short term, potentially with a project that looks similar to the project we had proposed a year or so ago.
Okay, thanks. It's just an awful lot of people down there. It's just it's been a couple of years, we've been talking about bathrooms down there. I understand there was, problems with, getting the bids out and stuff like that, but it just seems to have gone, obviously the money's gone and we're going a different direction. So, okay.
So that appropriation,
It's still in place.
is still in place. There were a lot of different questions about that project in terms of what level of coordination. There were several logistical things about that project that made it difficult to pull it together. When the new administration came in, we committed to them that we would look at getting something over there in terms of permanent bathrooms. And we felt like, after discussing it internally, that the best option for the short term was to utilize existing facilities over there. Chris and I have actually already met with an architect. We have a proposal in hand that we're going back and forth on. We may end up looking for a second proposal just to validate that the numbers and the scope of work that we're getting is legitimate. But hopefully we'll be able to move on getting the upgrades to the facility design so that we can implement those when the weather gets nice, so that we can open those bathrooms to the public, hopefully at some point, either late spring or early summer.
Okay, so the bathrooms we're talking about are in the buildings up by Keith?
That is correct.
Right.
The Academy building?
It's next to the Academy
Yep,
building.
it's next to the Academy building. It's in between the Academy building and the children's playground. There are 3 buildings over there.
Got it. I know where you're at. Yep.
Awesome.
So that concludes my report.
That's the end of your report. So how do we want to move forward really quick, just to reconfirm?
Mhm.
Do we need to vote on moving the meetings?
I
or do
don't
you
think
wanna
we
wait
need
till
to
we have
formally
everybody here
vote.
to see how
It's
it
more of
goes?
a, if you're in agreement, I think. I mean, you could formally take a vote if you want. I don't know if it's necessarily like a
Well,
policy thing,
To
but,
mention Dave's on board, I can be
oh, there's a,
available.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, and we can run it by, Jose
Mhm.
and Tony, and just to make sure, I'm sure that
sure.
it is what it is,
Yeah.
so.
Um,
Whatever we
That
can do
makes
to
sense.
support you guys, to make things a little bit more streamlined for your lives, that I'm on board, so.
Yeah. that's great.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. And it looks like we do have one hand up with the,
Yes, so I want to first accept
Oh,
your
okay.
report.
okay.
So if we have a motion to accept the director's report?
Yes.
If you want to make the motion, that would be.
Motion to accept the report.
I'll second it. We got it.
Okay, and now, that's
Zappa, yes.
Kadeko, yes.
Fuck, yeah. Awesome. And we do have somebody, Paulo, would you like to speak?
Hi, yes, just real quick, good evening. So yeah, my name is Paulo Simons. I'm a coach with the Framingham United Soccer Club. I talked to Jose Ferreira about it
Right,
this past week. So I reached out to a ticket rep with the New England Revolution. He works with Framingham United Soccer Club and gets all the kids, free tickets for a game every year and discounted
Mhm.
tickets for family members. But I asked him about potentially the club maybe being interested in potentially sponsoring a futsal soccer court for Mary Dennison. And he reached out to someone in the marketing, with their marketing people, and they were asking for potential sponsorship levels. So I was wondering, I know you mentioned, we hit a milestone recently with that, with Mary Dennison, and I didn't see any numbers, financials or anything like that yet. But I was wondering, I just wanted to get it on the radar really, and was wondering maybe if there was a time where we might be able to kind of explore that a little bit. I did some, brief research, and I saw that, just real quick online, I saw Seattle, they did something similar, and they offered the naming rights to the court for about 75% of the cost of the court itself. I was thinking that was kind of high. Maybe we could do like 33% or something a little bit, lower. But we would need to know, obviously if the city is interested in doing something like that, what the cost that would be associated with the actual futsal court, to be able to, explore potentially having the Revolution sponsor the court.
You know what, I think probably the best thing, thank you so much. I did talk to Jose, and he said that you would be trying to attend remotely from the meeting, so thank you for this. And I think probably the best thing to do is, Paulo, if we can set a meeting for you to come in and talk with Jim going forward on the specifics of that. That would be great if you have time to do that, or have either come in or have a call with Jim or with both of the Jims. That would really be the next steps on something. And thank you so much for reaching out and gathering the information. And I know that they'd be interested.
I think the city is definitely interested in any and all funding sources, and we're certainly looking to partner up in different ways in the city. And I don't know if you heard this or not, but in the Arlington Street project, excuse me, which is right around the corner, we are proposing a combination basketball futsal court there as well. Would you be looking for like a specific futsal complex or court or dedicated, or can it be a combination with basketball, or, you know,
I would
these are
think-
details we could probably talk
Yeah.
more about, but.
Yeah, I mean, I would think they would be more interested if they were going to sponsor it in something that was specifically just for soccer, just for futsal. But you never know. I mean, they might be okay with sponsoring it, even though it has, you know, basketball hoops or something, you know, something else in terms of the usage. But I would think, you know, if we're looking to, you know, get some money out of them to sponsor it, most likely just a futsal court.
Mhm.
Good.
And, you know, I know Mary Dennison, if you've been following it, it's a complex project. It's made up of 3 phases. We're dealing with a remediation of the soil, and then we're doing some utility work while it's daylighted, and then we'll be coming back with the park kind of on top of that. But we do have to be careful that we don't go deep into the barrier. There's gonna be a cap there that we can't break through. So, yeah, we can certainly take it into consideration and take a look at that and how it may fit into the design. And if it doesn't work at Mary Dennison, there are other parks we can certainly take a look at as well. So, yeah, let's, I can, you know, I don't know.
Do you
if
want to, would you like to, can you text or email? Do you want to email Jim or?
Yeah, my email is jcs@framinghamma.gov. Or it's, you can also go to the Parks and Recreation webpage and just, you know, pen out a little description of kind of what you're looking for, some of your contact information. We can certainly set up a time to talk about it.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Paulo. Really, really
Yeah, sure.
appreciate your interest in that.
Awesome.
And I just want to go on record that I don't want to be in that because my daughter works for Kraft, so
Mhm.
and she's also involved with Revolution, so I need to not be involved in that conversation.
Yeah, I can, we can do it on the city side and bring it
Yeah.
to the CFO when the
Sure,
time feels right.
but thank you. Okay,
Ms. Kate
so,
had her hand up, I think.
Oh,
There-
hi, I actually got on the call about something else, but I just wanted to add that I think anytime a park can have something for like soccer, if it has something for like a small area for basketball too, I feel like that's nice to have different like multi-uses, whatever, but I don't have a specific, you know, I wasn't specifically here about Mary Dennison's, but all sounds good.
thank you. Okay, so it looks like we are almost ready to wrap. Mr. Gajeko, do you have anything to add to the commissioner report?
Nope, everything looks pretty good. I will be, we've been doing a lot of CPC meetings, and we'll be getting together with the 2 gyms to get some questions answered on a couple of the projects, and then down the road, they'll be asked to come in front of the CPC and pitch them. So that was supposed to happen
Okay.
tonight. As you can hear from my voice and the fact that I've been home sick 2 days, that you didn't want to see me tonight. So that's,
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I
remotely.
just called in as one of the people interested in Temple Street. And yeah, so I'm sorry I was so late.
So, yeah,
Did you
we're,
hear the update then, or I'm happy to fill you in offline too, if you want.
Yeah,
So,
we could-
Yeah, that's
So
fine. I
usually
can share my email or something, I guess. and-
Yeah, or you can email me and with a phone number or whatever, we can, you know, be in contact tomorrow or this week.
Okay,
I'm at
that sounds good.
jcs@framinghamma.gov.
Okay, sorry, I didn't catch the beginning part.
Oh, sure, it's jcs framinghamma.gov, or you
Okay.
can go to the website for Parks and Recreation, and there's a contact there as well.
Okay, great. Yep. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Kate, for jumping on. Just to let you know, there is public participation in the beginning of the meeting. But thank you.
Okay,
We
sorry to
typically start
interrupt.
at 7. No worries at all, but we typically start at 7. But thank you very much, and Jim will be able to help you out in
Yep.
regards to Temple Street.
But do understand, all of the things that were brought up at the meeting last night, I will be talking to Jim about.
Okay, good.
Yes, I'd just like to add, I did a lot of listening tonight and got some great information between last night and even this evening. And Paulo, thank you for coming on, and Kate, I think it just takes all of us kind of collaborating a little bit on some of these ideas. And Jim, thank you for that third report and for the reports of everyone here. So thank you for a good first meeting. I'll figure out the motion part for the next one.
I'm still figuring it out. So commissioner reports are all set. Do we need to accept our reports, or that just kind of wraps it up? So
So
shall I
I'll make
look
a motion.
for,
I'll make a motion that we
Motion.
accept the director's report.
Second that. Gazzato, yes.
Hideko, yes.
Hawk, yes? And I need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Kathy, you're not going to say anything? What do you mean? You're all set? Really?
I am.
I'm just being a wise guy, sorry.
That's okay. Or would you
I'll
like
make-
to make a motion?
I'll make a
Or
motion.
we have a motion. Would you like to second the motion to
I'll
adjourn?
second the motion.
Awesome. Wrapped up. Roll call? Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that where I say?
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Gazzato, yes.
Hideko, yes.
Hawk, yes.
Meeting adjourned.
All done.